Hello, welcome. This is the second training video for the GPA, the Growth Poker Academy. I'm going to do a review of my play from, I want to say this is 2 or 3 weeks ago. There's the date. 131. Oh my gosh, this was a month ago. So, again, as most things, my game changes. I improve every day when I study, so I'm going to probably see some things that will shock me. And maybe we'll both have a learning experience from this, and we can talk about just pretty much how I play things differently. But that being said, let's get into it. Now I'm going to speed up through the boring parts, so you will just have straight action. So it looks like our first hand is going to be in the bottom left on table 3, and we'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4. H-Jack off, limper under the gun. Brand new table, so I don't have any reads on anyone. At this point, with the open from the deep stack, ace-jack off kind of becomes a closer spot. Ace-jack off is not a 3-bet versus this position, even if it was not an open over a limp. If anything, this would just be a call. I don't mind a call. Folding is definitely an option as well. On this flop out of position, it would also just be very tough to play with the limper, and so that's why I think I opted to just fold it. Table 1's definitely a call. I hope I see myself call. Alright, that's definitely a mistake. I don't know why I folded that. It's just like an easy call for 1.5 big blind. And down to pocket 7s. Queen deuce off I actually don't open anymore. I think I opened it there because it's a weak player and probably just expected to fold. Table 3 7s will definitely a call. Queen deuce off is definitely a bet on the turn top right after it goes check check on the flop. Sevens can be a peel here heads up, but with a player to act behind, it's probably just a fold. It's just not going to play well out of position against 2. Table 1, easy open with the ace-king off. Crazy to see what showed down there with the 7s. If I was paying attention, I would have made a note on player 4 saying he's opening way too wide. Or not way too wide, but he's opening wide enough. Ace-king easy large bet on the flop. Queen-jack suited is a flat. I think we did flat. And then once it comes to us, I think we can just check. But this short stack behind, it's going to be fine to bet. But I feel like one could also have some check calls and check raises in his range. As played, we can just fold. Ace, queen, bottom left. Open flop. Checking the flop, I think, is very standard, that dry with ace, queen, and then just checking it down. On river, we'll have some kings. We'll definitely have some like 7s and 8s and 9s and 10s that we can call with. So I think ace, queen is just a fold. Although we can probably call relatively profitably there, as it just doesn't make sense. He's kind of repping like king X, but he can't have ace king. He can only have like king 10 because I block king queen, and king jack would have bet turn, so he's repping a pretty thin range. Ace king bottom right is just a check down after we bet flop and get called. Although we probably could barrel him off some hands. It's just, again, with people that are brand new to us, we don't have stats and therefore no reads, and so we kind of just have to play a basic ABC strategy until we get some more hands on these guys. Obviously opening bottom right with aces and opening top left with pocket 9s. Aces will be a large bet. I hope to see it. At least like $6-7. Half pot, it's okay, but I prefer bigger. 9s out of position. Big blind calling range is going to miss this board fairly often, so I prefer a down bet. When we get bet into, it's an easy call. Aces on the turn should be a large bet as well. I don't mind a little over half as we do block ace-x of hearts. Call turn bet with nines top left for sure, and then oh sorry, he checked to us, so we bet, and then I think we can just we can check the river. I don't think there's much calling us. We could probably put in a value bet there too. And bottom right with ace is easy bet, easy bet, easy bet. With the 7 giving us 2 pair aces and 7s. 9, 10 of diamonds. I hope I raise. I used to think just checking this hand is good, but 9, 10 of diamonds just has too much equity. All right, we do raise. Queen 3 top right, defend, flop, fold. With back doors, like with a single club out there, I would call and float because queen high does have some showdown value. Bottom right with ace 3 of hearts. Definitely defending. At least I don't mind calling. I don't hate 3-betting either. But I think calling with a nutted ace or a nutted suit with a weak player in the small blind in position a little deeper is probably just going to be higher EV to call. These are the kinds of hands you definitely want to play deeper along with your suited connectors. Top right ace queen easy open and easy button open with the 4-7 of hearts. On table 3, table 4 easy check on the flop. We're multi-wave. We just can't bet into 3 people. Top right with ace queen. This is button versus cutoff open. I think this is just a call. 4-betting this hand would be pretty bad just because we're throwing away so much equity if we get 5-bet. Easy open table 3 with king jack off. Ace queen, easy call on the flop. And I really think I should be calling this. I don't know why snap fold. I don't hate it because I do have some sets and 2 pairs in my range, but I feel like I should just call. I remember I think I looked that up and he did have 2 pair. Ace queen off is definitely a 3-bet, and I like the sizing. We're in position, we don't need to make it that big. 8-4 suited, it's a little loose, but with the weak player on table 4, we think we can defend pretty profitably versus that bet sizing. Easy fold, no back door, bottom pair, only 5 clean outs. 10's easy 3-bet on table, maybe 850. Yeah, 8's fine, but I prefer 9. A lot of those guys min opening the button are probably opening way too wide anyway, so a smaller bet size does accomplish kind of the same thing. And I guess we had a little heads up for you. 10's easy open for sure. We can go 3x too because we're deeper, and we have a premium hand. This is the first hand that heads up, so there's no, he's been opening to 250 this whole time. And we do that. We get called, see a decent flop. I think I prefer betting over checking on this board, and a down bet makes sense with our specific holding. I don't usually down bet this board too much, but 10s make sense. A 9 probably makes sense. Having the 10 of hearts means we block. So what I'm trying to point out is we block a lot of the straight draws. So when he calls, he kind of has a 9 or a jack. He doesn't have too much queen 10. He doesn't have too much jack 10. I don't think he'd be bluffing this river too much. Again, we block the 10. We block the flush draw. We block the straight draw. If he had king queen, I imagine he probably would have 3-bet, but maybe not. I just think he doesn't have a 9 there too much. Or yeah, he doesn't have a 9 there too much when he bets. Probably just betting like a jack, maybe a queen. There's some bluffs there, but again, we have one of the worst hands to call with 10s blocking. Just blocking so much on this board. I mean, we block queen 10, 8 10, heart draws 10x. I mean, it's more or less most likely going to be a combo most of the time, but 10x definitely is important. And he still can't have 2x of hearts, so there is some value in there. And for that sizing, I like it with this whole range, so I think that's fine. Ace queen off, definitely an open on the button. Versus the short stack, actually, I think I prefer betting. Checking's not bad either, but versus weaker players in general, top pair here definitely for value, any king. Queen X is close, but I think this can fall more into our bet check bet as opposed to a check bet bet. I just feel that on the flop, we're going to get peeled a lot more light than we would on some turns. Moreover, most turns are pretty action killing anyway. Like if a spade comes, we're betting it, but again, we're not thrilled. We're probably ahead, but we're not thrilled with a spade coming off. Like a 10 and jack are going to give him a lot more outs and equity, so I feel like if we just bet this flop right now, it's better. We'll get check raised sometimes, but I just don't think often enough. But again, checking's not too bad because the other side of the coin is he is very short. It's not going to take us too much to get all the stacks in if we needed to or wanted to. But and his hand's already pretty vulnerable, so I don't mind the check. Definitely betting turn though, and I think we can go very big. 5 makes sense. 2 flush draws out there. I need really big protection for my hand. And when the backdoor diamonds come in, I think we can just check. I mean, honestly, most of the draws miss. If there's spades, backdoors get there. Everything else kind of bricks. The only value we'd be getting, it's just really hard. I mean, we get some really thin value from like a weak queen or like jacks that miss. But I think I'm more likely just going to call it bet here as opposed to like betting myself. But completely spazzy bluff. I think that line kind of goes the same way as a bet check bet because b-bet flop, that guy's definitely calling. Turn comes a diamond. We might be able to bet there too, and then maybe get a small thin third street of value because the spades miss. So I don't know. I mean, that's against his specific holding of bottom pair and no redraw. Bottom right, ace king of clubs, definitely an easy 4-bet, something like 22, 23, 24, something like that sounds good. I think I like just 23, 22. Doesn't need to be much, we're in position. Button's almost certainly folding, and again, we don't really care if they jam, we're not folding either. Bottom right again, pocket 4 is easy open. And we get 3-bet. I think that you can jam here sometimes. His effective stack is $35, so 35 BBs. So yeah, I probably just would. I think I would rather just fold this hand. I'd stack off and just jam. I mean, this is a jam or a fold spot. We can never call with a small pair for a set to try and flop a set. There's just not enough money behind for us to be getting the right odds to be flopping a set. So it's really, are we going with this hand or not? I think minimum would be like ace jack off plus, maybe ace 10 suited, king queen suited for sure, and probably like sevens plus, but sixes and under is probably just a fold. King jack of diamonds, easy open. And bottom right sevens will definitely be opened. King jack of diamonds, top left, I prefer a down bet. It's just a weak player. It's a pretty close to a 0 equity bet. Plus this board just misses him a ton. Sevens bottom right. This guy's playing 22-23, so I really hope I check. I don't mind down betting. Down betting and checking are very close in EV. But I expect this guy to continue a decent amount. Top left with the ace king. Don't hate the bet, don't love the bet. Button range is going to have a lot of suited connectors, and so I think I prefer just to check, give up, hopefully take a free card. Bottom right, just show it down. And we got looked up relatively light. But that's okay. I mean, he is getting the correct odds to call with that hand. With the nut shot, as I like to call it. King jack open in the cutoff, and king jack open in the cutoff. JK, not king jack open in the cutoff. King jack defend in the big. Raise, he checks. This is definitely a down bettable board. We have 3 card straight flush draw. And he checked to us, so pretty simple. Ace 3 off here is actually a defend. In the bottom right, even against the short stack, well, I should say especially against the short stack, these guys are most likely opening way too wide. fold to the 3-bet for sure. Eight, 7 suited, easy 3-bet. Should go about $11. And King 5 top right should be an open. 10-25 seems fine. King 5 on the flop is a check to start. We have a hand that has immediate showdown value. Plus, when we bet, we force him to continue with specifically hands like a flush draw, 6, 7, and 8. And I think we'd rather just keep his range wide and do some check calling. Oh, I remember this hand, yeah. 8-7 suited is definitely a large bet on this flop. And a give up on the turn. I mean, we just can't continue, so it's just a non-equity bet. And so when we get called, it's going to be really hard to bluff him off some hands. Plus, he can have some really strong hands here, like Queen Jack suited or 10s. It can definitely have some Ace 10 suited in there. Most of his hands are going to be hands like King Queen, King Jack, Jack 10, like pair gut shot kind of hands. But again, I don't really want to triple barrel those hands. I have so many other hands I can be triple barreling with. And let me just pause this for a sec. So top left, he raised, we call with Ace 8. Easy check on the flop. Turn brings a 10, which is kind of good for both of our ranges because we both check the flop. But it's hard to say whether or not he'll have more 10s in this spot, specifically blind versus blind. As played on the turn, if he bets, we will call, and if he checks, we will bet, because at this point, one of us is going to have to put in some money. As for the bottom left with pocket 10s, this is a tough spot. Raise, the 3-bet is coming from an unknown who just sat down on the button, and he is squeezing. A squeeze in this position, specifically button versus cutoff, or sorry, button versus MP, effectively under the gun in this situation, is going to be very strong. If you look at a range, it looks something like this. This is actually my button 3-bet versus cutoff, but I think for practical purposes, this is definitely a solid squeezing range as well. Some of your weaker suited aces, your King Jack, Queen Jack off that really don't want to go multi-way and would love a fold, plus good blockers to the stronger hands. Jacks, Queens, Kings all make sense. Jacks is kind of iffy, but I think it still makes sense as a squeeze. And I think the other ones just make sense. Ace it off, same concept as Queen Jack and King Jack off. Hands you would not want to be doing that with would be these suited connectors. I mean, these hands are the whole point of why we play these hands in position, or play them at all, is because we want to be playing those in position a little deeper. And so when he does that, this is what his range looks like. And 10s is doing okay, but when we 4-bet, his calling range will subsist of these hands. So maybe more like this. But still, what we're getting him to fold there in combos, so this is now a 4% continuation range, down from 7. So we kind of cut it in half. A little less than cut it in half, 3.2. And then we're out of position with 10s. And we'll have to stack off on any boards that are 10 or under for sure. And I think against this range, we're doing okay, but again, this is still a pretty tight range, and I think that we could safely fold 10s. It's close. It's super close with 10s. Jacks, I'm just 4-betting, and if he has me, he has me. But 10s is a little close, mainly because these King, Queen suited type hands can also be doing it. And when we get called, we're flipping. We're still flipping with Jacks, but Jacks is just gonna be better. 10s, we block some of his Ace 10 off combos that he wants to be 3-betting with. Jacks we do as well, but Jacks also do a lot better than 10s on most boards. 10 high boards are very common, so I think it's just a fold. But again, very, 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 very close. Bottom right with 8-7 suited is just a give up. The guy's never bluffing on the river. And we did bet the turn top love with ace 8 off. Sorry. It was actually multi-way limped. And he bet 2 on the flop. And then we called and the limper folded. Turn bet definitely still call, but river we could release. When we call twice here, our range is actually very, very weak, aside from boats. To this sizing, I think that's okay that we can call. I actually don't mind a raise either. A call, I imagine we're going to chop a lot, but I mean, I probably prefer a raise over a call. Yeah, the call is not going to be 2+ EV because most of the time we're either chopping or he has me beat. Because when the queen comes out, it's aces of tens to the queen. So I prefer, if I'm going to continue, probably fold, raise, call in that order. Definitely a small mistake. I'm also probably folding turn nowadays because once it goes lead flop, bet turn, this is usually pretty strong, especially from a fish. And 8 jack suited, definitely open in the small blind. Eight six suited bottom left is close. I don't mind opening it though. There's a big fish on the button, so it's good and bad. Bad because we're out of position. Good because we have a hand that's going to be pretty easy to play and well disguised. Unknown 3-bets us from MP. I don't like 4-betting this specific hand, so I'll probably just fold it. Queen 10 suited bottom right, easy open. King jack suited top right. Could be squeezed, but again, unknown players, pretty reggy stats so far. I think it's better to just call, and definitely leading full pot on turn. I have 9s here for sure that I don't need max protection when there's 2 flush draws out there. Same concept with queens, and now I can include some of my stronger bluffs, my semi bluffs. And on this river, I definitely need to just bluff. Like, I have king high. I can rep 9s better than he can. He's just gonna have a really hard time continuing. And yeah, just mandatory bluff. So old Alex disagrees with new Alex and decides to defend the 8-6 suited. It has to be folded because he can 3-bet like ace-jack of hearts, ace-king of hearts, just ace-x of hearts, like ace-5 of hearts, and it's not going to be really profitable for me. It's going to be really hard to play this. As played, though, definitely check call on the flop. Maybe we can do some check raising on the turn. I don't mind check raise jamming this turn if he does bet, because he's pretty capped because he doesn't have too many king jack suited that he's 3-betting these positions. He can have queens, he can have 10s, aces and kings for sure. That sizing is pretty strong, 2/3 pot. Yeah, this is definitely old me. 2/3 pot is pretty strong there. I don't think we can fold for this sizing, but I think that jamming is maybe slightly better. Again, I don't know. Like, this guy's range is in general going to be very strong. So this whole hand is compounded mistake after mistake by calling pre-flop, because when we call here, his range is a lot stronger. On the turn, when the 9 comes in, it's better for my range. So when he keeps betting, he's repping a very strong hand, a hand that he wants to get value from, because I'm pretty much always calling with my queen jack off, my jack 10. My queen jack suited, my jack 10 suited. Probably raising my 9-10 suited. Definitely raising my queen 10 suited at this point if I had it. And definitely raising my, well, not always raising my king jack. I'd probably split it between calling and checking. As played, I guess we just have to go for the check call, not check fold, but I really, really should consider check jamming the turn. It's one of my best bluffs that I have here. But I don't mind just calling either at this stake where people are pretty nutted, value heavy. Also, probably not folding to plays like this. And yeah, just an easy fold at that point. Top right 7s, we get min raised, easy call. And check folding the floop. Top right is king off, easy open. And no one plays. Top right, king 9 off. This is one of those frequency things, guys. King 9 off is not in my standard 3-betting range, but I don't know if you can make out the stats. This guy is playing 32-29, 3-betting 21.4%, only over 40 samples, but I think it's still a decent enough sample to know that he's a little looser. And if the person's a little looser, it's fine to open up our 3-betting range a little bit. I don't know about specifically using our King 9 offhand as the reach down in our range choice, because King Jack off is sometimes like a mix 3-betting. King 10 off is probably a mix as well, so it's close. But if I'm going to reach here, I'd probably reach more into my like ace-x offsuit combos, because ace-x is just going to have more equity versus his calling range, whereas his calling range here with King 9, I'm going to be often dominated or behind. But again, I don't mind it because his frequencies are so high. I could definitely 3-bet this hand. I didn't, which is good. I think I like a fold more than anything. But 3-betting is definitely an option. It's close. It's definitely close with that hand. Bottom right, King Jack suited, easy open for sure. Bottom right, pocket 3s will be a fold, especially because player 6 is super short. Top right, 7s open, button defend, easy down bet on ace jack 6 rainbow. This is pretty much just my entire range betting this flop. Turn card, I think we can check. I don't really like to double barrel, but I don't mind it either. I mean, in general, I just don't like to. Maybe just, I'm going off here, guys. I mean, in general, this line in general is very strong. I don't think he has a strong enough hand most of the time to be continuing here. And I have one of the better hands to be continuing as a bluff, because I blocked the straight, and I am using my 7 of clubs as a blocker to the flush. So I don't mind triple barreling that hand, knowing that I can be bluffing the river when a club comes very easily. Also, his range is just not strong enough to be calling a triple barrel there out of the big blind. If we think about his calling range, a lot of it might be maybe a hand like ace-5 suited, ace-7 suited, ace, all the suited aces. Never ace-king, never ace-queen. Ace-jack is raising turn, if not flop, and ace-10. Other than that, it's some weaker jacks that are maybe too sticky on the flop. So when we bet this river, we're kind of running into just flushes and maybe a river 2-pair, or like ace-4 and ace-8. Hands like that specifically. But that's just such few combos that I can bluff the rest of his range off. And this is one of the better hands to do it with. 7s, 5s with the club, 2s and 3s probably with the club as well. Those are all fine. Other than that, I'm really not bluffing that much. I don't think King Queen becomes a double or a triple because we want him to have those hands. Although I also don't mind it. Bottom right, 10-8 suited opening in MP for sure. Under the gun, it would be a fold. Top left, I had ace deuce off as a fold. I think that's incorrect. Definitely need to be opening all of the offsuit aces on the button. Just must have been one of those autopilot things. King, queen of diamonds, easy 3-bet. This is the same guy that's been opening the button a ton. So very easy. We keep it at 8. I prefer bigger again, 9, especially because we're a little deeper. We do get 4-bet. So definitely going to take a look at those 4-bet stats. Always calling though. Always calling. Never really 5-betting. Never folding. Always calling. Flop top pair with a backdoor, so always calling. I actually now remember this hand. I thought about jamming this flop, because if we think about his sizing here, He's betting $20 into 35, and so this is more just a sizing thing. He's setting up a turn shove, like a perfect turn shove. And so if we give him hands that he wants to be turn shoving with, it's for sure ace king. It's definitely aces, but it's like that's a couple of hands. That's it. That's like aces is 3 combos. Sorry, aces is 6 combos. Aces is six combos here, and then ace king is now only 2 times 2 or 3 times 2, 4 times 2, so 8 combos. All of the ace king off. So a total of like 14 value combos, and then the rest is just all of his flush draws. Maybe a hand like ace jack that is turning into a continuation bluff. I don't know if he 4-bets ace jack there, but and actually in general I don't know what he'd be 4-betting here. I want to say like weak suited aces, so like ace 5 of hearts, ace 4 of hearts, so those kind of hands maybe. I remember he had a 6-8 of hearts here, or 5-8 of hearts, 8-5 of hearts. So it's kind of close. It's interesting that he would turn something that weak into a 4-bet, because most of the time you want to be calling with those suited connectors, but a triple gap is definitely outside the flatting range, where the flatting range is like 8-6 suited, 8-7 suited, the single and suited in like single gap and non-gapped connecting cards. So interesting to see him do that. As played, though, I don't mind calling. I think jamming does force us to get into some like way ahead, way behind situations. But as played, turn bricks off, we just have to call it off when he jams. Just we're at the top of our range. We don't really like have better hands here to be calling off with besides sets. And just, yeah, very unfortunate. Obviously a very, very cooler flop. And turn, for that matter. Check down the ace-jack bottom right after the cutoff opened. 6-4 suited, definitely flatting in position. Weaker player behind, looks good. Top left ace-3 off, easy open. And checking the flop or betting the flop seems fine for small. Betting small seems fine because we block a lot of his check raises and we have good turns to barrel. Checking is also okay. The EVs are very, very close there. When he decides to bet pot on the turn, we do just have to fold our hand, so that's why sometimes betting small on the flop's good, because we prevent something like that. But I'm checking some kings there too, so I'm not too concerned, especially against the Shawty. 6-4 suited probably should just be checked. If we're gonna bet, we should bet small. I go half pot. I think we should bet smaller. Especially you see how quickly they folded. Makes sense for me just to be betting smaller there. My hand is already pretty vulnerable. I don't need too much protection. So it's very close between checking and betting small, but I think betting small is better than betting half pot. Five's easy open. Ten's easy open. Ace-10 off, bottom right. Open. I don't know why I folded that. It's pretty nitty. Ace-10 off is... I mean, specific tables I could see folding it, but there's a fish in the small blind. Big blind's not doing any 3-betting. And so, yeah, I think I should have opened that. 10's here into 2 with no diamond is definitely a check. So I don't like my bet. I'm just always getting called, at least by one player on this flop. And we do get raised by the aggressive opponent on our right. So, yep, really not happy with the bet. Top left easy open, and bottom right is definitely a call. Getting almost 4-1 with an ace, and we also make that mistake. So yeah, decent amount of mistakes. Wow, surprised. Top left ace-10 easy down bet. 2-4 suited will be a defend for a buck. I don't mind folding it either, though. I mean, it's actually pretty close. Ace-4 suited, definitely a 3-bet. This guy is the guy with the 8-5 of hearts, from the 8-5 of hearts, and where you 4-bet me. Cold call from the weak player in the big blind. This is definitely a down bet flop. I don't mind checking either, though, because a lot of his cold calling range will be some stronger ace-x hands, and if not, he's definitely going to try and rep them. So easy check call. And we hit the bet the river for value for sure. And I think that we should just keep it kind of small. I mean, everything's going to look pretty value-y. Yeah, I think 18's good. Everything's going to look super value-y here. So we're just hoping to get paid. Top right open, king, queen off in the cutoff. Definitely down betting this flop versus a weak player. And queen 10 bottom right is an open. King queen off here is definitely a check. Yeah, we should not be betting that turn. Just because we're going to get called a ton. I mean, flush draws, ace-x. We could maybe get 9x to fold versus bet. I think we should just fold. Raising is an option for sure. Raising is definitely a good option, I think. I was bluffing, hoping to bluff some spade rivers, but now once we hit the queen, we don't need to bluff. We have great showdown value. And I think now we just have to call over this. Although this is like very, very value heavy, it's also a fish, so it's hard to say. But we're getting like 9-1. And it's super unfortunate. I like the bluff because his sizing lends itself to more like a 9 and an 8. But the problem is that river, we don't have to bluff anymore. We have a hand that beats those 9s and 8s. So I prefer a check call. If it had come pretty much any other card, we can be bluffing. Bottom left ace 9 checks through. I think we should bet this flop small for sure. Just get some protection. Actually, we complete in the small blind. But still, definitely betting flop. Top left, ace 7 of hearts, easy open in the cutoff. This board, I think we can down bet for $3 because we have a lot of turn equity with hearts. We give in raise, so now it's just a call with backdoor hearts. It does come in. Should go check most of the time. Does that make sense too? I think we now just have to call. We're sometimes good. I probably don't take this line with like 8-9 of hearts too much. Probably am check raising the turn with 8-9 of hearts. And now it's just a fold. The reason why I call the turn, and I'm okay with calling the flop, setting up for a call on the turn, is because ace high does still have some showdown. Sometimes these guys, well, most of these guys at this stake are giving up with their bluffs, and I imagine at micros they do it as well. And so if we can just show down ace high, that's good. As played, I mean, we're getting the right price on the turn. There's definitely some implied odds behind. So I think it's fine. He does bet slightly over half, so it's good for us. King jack off top right. I now 3-bet this hand, especially to the small sizing, and make it 7. Instead, I just call. It's okay. Again, arguments can be made to call because there's a weak player in the small blind, and if he ever calls here with any of his king 9, king 10 off, king 8 off, king deuce suited, stuff like that, we'll be making a lot of money off of him. Good flop for our hand. We should bet about $4 here. Down betting is okay. I prefer 4. But down betting is okay. It does keep people's ranges wide. 10 of spades on the turn. Now we should be betting again. Bet like 650. And I decided to check. I don't know why. I guess we were just doing it to bluff catch some rivers. Yeah, that's a missed bet for sure. For sure. Ace jack off, easy open. Bottom left, limper. Yeah, post, and then it folds to me, so I think we can just check flop. With a heart in my hand, I'd definitely be betting. As but I think we just check fold. It's not really a big deal. Check calling is, yeah, just check fold. Just fold. Check calling is going to be very spewy, long run. Nine of diamonds, top right. We open, get called by the button playing 19-17, so relatively tight range. There's gonna be a lot of small pairs, also some like king, queen, queen, jack, maybe ace, jack type hands. No 3-bet, so ace, queen's probably in there as well. Hard to say. This board should be a down bet. Checking it is okay as well, but I prefer a down bet. I can rep more hands on the turn, which is maybe why. But if I'm going to be checking the flop, I need to be betting this turn. Giving up with this hand is fine, but it's not making me money. So if I'm checking flop, I need to be betting turn. And betting river is fine because I do need to bluff at some point. I just think it's too late to be bluffing. It should get through sometimes against hands that have like king 10 off, jack 10 off, stuff that I need to be bluffing out. But if that's the case, I could probably just go for a smaller sizing. That hand does look very much like an ace. An ace would definitely, I would definitely play an ace like that. Don't know what happened there. Bottom left, pocket jack's definitely a squeezable hand. Should go about 13, maybe 14. Just taking a look at the button stats, he's very tight, over 55, yet to open a button. But I still think this hand is a mandatory 3-bet. Mainly because there's this other person in there, and we need to get this down to heads up. So the plan backfires, but doesn't matter when you hit that kind of flop. As played, we should definitely just be checking. And I think we'll be checking with our entire range purely because player 3 is short. He's only got about a 1.2, 1.4, yeah, 1.4 SPR left, and so betting would be bad. And now I think we can just jam. I mean, I'm going to be jamming all of my smaller pairs here. Calling just makes my hand very face up. I really don't like calling. Or I guess it doesn't make my hand face up. But I really just don't like calling. He had Ace King, hits the turn, so we cool the room with that turn card, but I'm pretty opposed to just calling. I think I'd rather just jam. Because like 9s and 10s, sorry, 9s, A10, queens, I'm just check jamming versus his stack. I'm really just more concerned about player 4 with most of the hands that I'm checking. Because I'm either check folding or check jamming. Check calling, I don't have enough hands in my range doing that. So yeah, I don't like the way I played it. Obviously a fine outcome. Sorry to play top out wrong versus ace king, but I don't like the way I played it. Ace queen off bottom right, easy open. Jack 8 suited bottom right, we open and we get 3-bet by an unknown. For his sizing, he made it 550 more. So we're risking 550 to win 1150, getting us better than 2-1 slightly. And so with that price, I need at least 33% equity against his range, probably more like just 30%, maybe 29%, 28%. And I think this hand definitely has that. Even against aces, where you have like 23% equity, something like that. Jack 8, definitely calling the flop. I have almost just as many aces as he does. Ace Jack is flatting. Versus this large sizing, it's kind of scary to call, but I think we should still be calling. And yeah, I think that's a mistake. But I think that's, I mean, it could also just be a exploit. Like, he's a fish. I think that's might have been it. Like, he's a fish. I tagged him as a fish already. And so, versus a fish like that who's going to be playing very straightforwardly and, you know, betting his hand when he has it, checking when he doesn't, seems fine to just fold that for that sizing. I think maybe even that doesn't have to be defended versus that sizing. But versus a standard sizing, I think that, yeah, we should definitely just continue with the hand. 7-5 clubs open from the button. Those two guys were newly seated. So, as played, we should probably have 3-bet this hand out of the big blind versus the button open, but I wasn't paying attention and decided not to. Basically, this whole recording has been, do as I am saying right now. Don't do as I have been doing. There are some good things in here, but I'm also seeing a lot of bad. King 6 suited is a call. That's fine. Raising seems okay too, because this guy seems very tight. Bottom right, we get massively 3-bet. He's got a total of like 63 bigs, so I think ace queen's just a fold. Minimum to stack off here again would probably be 10s plus, maybe 9s plus. But 9s is definitely the closer one. Ace 4 suited out of the big blind. This is going to be a 3-bet, and I prefer... This one's closer. I'd have to look at his stats a little more to see how much he's trying to isolate and see how much he's raising on the button. If he's raising on the button here, like 40% plus, 35% plus, I really do like the squeeze. Other than that, though, if we think about it, these guys are weak players, and so if we want to just call this bet and have these two come behind, we'll have a really easy to play hand post flop, and we could potentially stack these guys with a flush over flush type hand, or like if we hit 2 pair and they hit a straight draw or something like that. But I also don't mind the 3-bet. This is a good sizing. We can have some bluffs in here for sure. This is clearly a bluffing hand, and it's definitely something I'd go for value, and it's not that expensive. We're risking 23 bucks to pick up 8. So a little less than 3-1. Well, actually, yeah, that's right. So, not that expensive. 75 to 25. I think that's fine. Only problem is if one of these guys decides to limp jam, we're kind of committed to call. But a good choice to do it with good hand. Suited ace, a weak wheel ace. Will flop a lot of different stuff, plus it blocks aces. 6-7 suited top right, easy open. 4x because of the person who limped. Bottom right, king 4 suited, definitely an open BBB. On the flop, we should be going for a $4 bet, not a $2 bet. This is not a board I will be down betting. Maybe actually versus the fish is fine. Versus weaker amateur players in general, you want to keep your sizing small with your bluffs and just play very, very face up with your hands. Just bet large when you have a hand and bet small when you have like a weak hand, draws, second pair, stuff like that. Just because they're not going to read into it, they're not going to be making moves on us too much. But versus someone with some more regular stats, that's definitely a $4 bet. On turns when I turn like a king, or a spades, or a 7, or a bunch of cards came for the straight. Could come for the straight. Top right is 10 suited, check on flop. Betting turn seems fine. I like my sizing. I can have a ton of different hands here with this sizing. And river will be a check. Call, but I don't mind betting small either. We can get a lot of king queen appeal, and he actually had a worse ace, so that's good. And top right again, we're getting into another situation with this player. We 3-bet the ace-4 suited. This time we 4-bet, knowing that this guy's capable of 4-betting 5-8 of hearts. Ace-4 suited becomes a very, very fun hand to 5-bet. Mainly because we blocked most of his jams. $34 is literally the perfect sizing. It allows us to have the perfect amount of bluffs to value. Anything over this amount, it'll be hard to have enough bluffs in our range. Top left, we got min 3-bet with king jack suited, and I think we just led the flop, which is fine. Bottom right, ace king off, just check it down. And top right, we do take it down, because when you see someone's capable of doing that with 8-5 suited and having more bluffs than they should, definitely start punishing them with your best hands that you could be 4-bet 5-betting with. And those wheel aces, suited wheel aces, are the best. Ace-8 suited top right, standard open in the cutoff. I'll be opening ace-7 suited plus ace-5 suited in all my wheel aces, but not ace-6 suited. Ace-8 of diamonds, decent turn card to barrel because we can rep the king. I just don't know how many folds we're getting all the time. I don't think it's terrible. I really don't versus a weak player. He's just going to have a hard time continuing with something like, Jack 9 suited or Jack 9 off, or any suited Jack that obviously doesn't have spade redraw. Bottom right, open up 8-9 of diamonds, get called by MP. This guy's the loose fish, that's good. Top left, open up queen 9 off on the button. Fairly active players on the left, so I imagine we'll be getting called there. Easy down bet with 9-8 of diamonds on this board, very, very dry. And top left, easy fold with queen 9 off. We do get called and pick up a double gutter. This is a really, really good spot to be betting twice, double barreling. Overbetting is not, it's an option, but I don't think we should be doing it with this hand. If I'm going to overbet, it'll be 9-8 of clubs. But definitely an easy double barrel. We can get him to fold a ton. And taking a look at his button open, 7-10 of clubs is probably pretty close between 3-betting and just calling. Never folding. I think I'd actually prefer a 3-bet with that wide of an open. Should make it like 9. Yeah. Looks good. He's just opening way too wide. He was opening like 45-48%. It's a crazy amount. It's more than he theoretically should be able to, for sure. Aces on 2 tables? My lucky day. Definitely a 3-bet. I really hope I don't flat this hand. We're so deep with this guy, and he's a fish, so easy pot. Top left should be a 3x open. Same concept, fish in the small blind. He folds an ace. That's not good. But we do get 3-bet by the weak player. He does not have a lot of 3-bets, so this should just be a call. 6-7 suited. We're a little deeper with this guy, so I don't mind a 3-bet. Definitely don't like a fold, though. That should be played. Ooh, a dream spot with aces top left. Again, flatting is 100% the right play here. We want to keep that fish in. My hand's going to be very face-up either way. On this board, I think we should be checking. Betting doesn't really make sense with most of our hands, because if we think about our cold calling range here, it is going to be hands like king, queen of clubs, king, jack of clubs, maybe. Probably more like king, queen of clubs. I probably fold king, jack of clubs. King, queen of clubs, ace, queen suited. Ace, king suited, maybe. Maybe just trying to keep the fish in. Other than that, aces, kings, queens, jacks. Probably jamming kings. So yeah, I don't think we should be betting this flop. Just checking. And I think we just cooler him, yeah. It's like that's getting in anyway on the turn. And river. Can't really misplay a cooler. Nah, back when I was running good. Bottom left. I see that I decide to 3-bet this hand. This is not a 3-bet. This is just a call. As played. Yeah, he's not even opening the small blind. As played, we're betting this flop. We should go. I think down betting's fine. Down betting's fine. Turn. Definitely should be betting like half pot here. Just a really good card for our range. And we don't, which is incorrect. We have king high. It does have showdown, but I think we should be betting. And we get full potted into the river, so it sucks. But we should definitely be betting the turn. That's craziness. Yeah, that's a double barrel spot for sure. Although he is really tight in the small blind, so it seemed, I still think it's a double barrel. Seeing as we don't have hearts. And I'm probably just not giving up on the river, just triple barrel off. But if I decide that he is just a big fish, I can just shut down the turn knowing that I'm not triple barreling, because on that specific turn, when he calls the turn, we need to be triple barreling the river. Because a lot of his continuation on this texture will be flush draws, hands like queen jack, maybe ace 10, jack 9, 7, 9, all these other hands that definitely miss this river. And then we can actually just check down the river with king high when that specific river comes off. That's not that bad. But definitely need to be betting. Queen 10 off bottom left is a fold in the cutoff. Definitely a fold in the cutoff. Definitely a fold the shorter stack in the big blind. Top left, 7-4 suited could be 3-bet. But I think folding is okay as well. Top left pocket 7s will definitely be opening. Bottom left queen 10 of hearts. We're a little deeper, so I actually do like this as a 3-bet because we're trying to get hands like queen jack and king jack to fold. And if we get called, that's fine. If we get 4-bet, easy fold. So I like this a lot. Good flop. This is a flop that we should be checking. It's just a wet board. I think my entire range checks this, minus like 8, 9. Versus the donk lead. Easy, easy, easy call. We have a gut shot to the nuts. Plus we're open-ended. And on the turn we just have to fold. I mean, once he bets the diamond, still it's just tough. Plus, like, most of the time he has at least a diamond in his hand, if not two. And so, yeah, we just have to fold. Because now only a couple of our outs are very clean. Bottom right pocket sixes will be played. Table 3, king, queen off is an open under the gun for me, especially with a weak player in the big blind. This is actually a half pot bet now that I've learned on the flop. Down betting doesn't really accomplish much on a board like this because all of his ace-X are floating. Always double barreling though. So that's good to see me do that still. Mainly because the 6 of clubs doesn't change anything and I have all the overpairs in my range whereas he does not. Nine, 7 of hearts. If it folds to me, I should be 3-betting it. Now, once that really, really short player comes in, I think we can just call. And check folding flop. Bottom right, 4 is open on the button, pretty standard. Pocket 10s here, a little tougher of a spot. I think in general, small blind versus MP 10s is not a 3-bet. However, this is more than just a 3-bet spot. This is now a squeeze, and so I think 10s should be squeezed here. Although I wouldn't blame myself for calling and trying to take a flop. Just at this point, we're really trying to flop a set. So over 14 samples, I'm going to take a look at this guy's stats. He's opening MP 0 so far, so I think that's why I opted to call. But I don't think 3-betting is terrible because like we have 2 fish behind, and yeah, it's good. On this board, we should definitely think about leading. Checking is not terrible, but I often find that this board will check through when the initial raiser doesn't have anything. It's okay because player 3 is a short stack, player 1 is a short stack, and they can jam here with like a bunch of random crap. As played, definitely raising this guy's bet. We can keep it super small. We could effectively just min-raise this flop. Yeah, I don't know why I just called. Calling's not terrible. I know why it is, just because like if we raise here and someone else calls, then it's really, really ugly. But I don't mind it. Oy, that sucks. And yeah, I think leading the turn's fine. We don't want to give the free card, just get it in. We're not folding anyway. But I think we should just raise. Although, again, I don't mind it. Like, there's not a lot of draws out here. This guy puts 15, we call 15, 30 adds to the pot, so $52. It's $15. If someone has a hand like ace-4, ace-5 suited, they have to risk $15 to win 55, which is a little worse than 4-1. So like 3.8 to 1, so they need about 27% equity. Ace-4 suited has 4 outs plus 3 clean, 7 times 4 is 28, so it's pretty close actually for them with those type of hands. But if the turn ever does brick off, like let's say the turn comes like 8, I'm definitely betting, and they're probably just folding their gut shot. So yeah, I think actually a call's fine. Call's fine. It's just really ugly if like he bets 15, I call, and then it goes like call, fold, and then 2's like, well, I got 2 overs, I can call this, and then binks his ace queen or whatever on the turn. Top left ace king suited, definitely raising the limper. Top right, ace king off. You know the drill. Maybe you don't. This is a 3-bet. Definitely 3-betting the weak player. And stacking off if he opts to jam. He does just call. SPR is 1.5 to 1. I think that we could probably just jam this flop. Like, we're not bet folding. Checking doesn't seem right, so just jam. Seems good. Top right, ace-5 of clubs. I do open this from all positions. On the flop, this is just a check. Button defense going to have a lot of different hands, but also a ton of checks on a board like this. I'll have a lot of checks too, like queen jack, jack 10, ace 9, queen 9, stuff like that. Turn, definitely a bet. The lower half seems good. If we're doing this with my 10s, I'll do this with my 9, my jacks. Seems fine to me. Bottom left, you could probably peel or 3-bet. Folding, this probably goes 3-bet fold call in EV. Top left, definitely raising. Make it like 6 to go. I don't know what I'm doing during this day. Chilling, I guess. We do make it 6. Jack 10 off fold, king 4 suited fold. Top right, jack 8 suited. It's going to be open on the button for me, so we're definitely going to ISO. That's how I work it out at least. And go small with the short stack limping. Top left, jacks, 3-bet. I like a bigger sizing, still 9, but 8 is what seems to be the flavor of the day for old Alex. Bottom left, 5-4 suited, definitely an open. Top right, down bet with the jack 8 suited. We have more kings, we have great turn cards. Lots of cards bring us straights or flush draws. +1 over to the 10, which is good. We do get called turn 4 versus a weak player. I think we should just keep betting as a bluff. Like, we have jack high, and this is pretty much a one and done. I don't like 8. We should probably go like 7. Checking is also okay. We do block his queen jack, jack 9 type hands that want to continue for their gut shots. But he limped. I mean, we should just bet. I don't know why we're not. And then on this river, we definitely need to bluff a jack high. My line doesn't really make much sense. I guess it's like ace 10 for value. And most of his stuff missed. Like, he'll have a lot of 5s, 6s, 7s, 2s, 3s here, but I guess this is where we put him to the test. And we get jammed on. It's pretty interesting. Definitely a fold. Top right jacks again. We'll go $3 again to ISO the short stack, keep things consistent. And this time we get raised by the button. I mean, we just had 6-8 suited, or Jack-8 suited, man. They could put us on anything at this point. Obviously getting it in. Nine's no good, sir. Nine's no good. Jack-8 suited in the cutoff, definitely an open for me. I think this is actually a fold, especially for his stack depth. I don't like it. Just fold. On the flop, down betting. Checking is also an option, but once he snap checks, I think we should just down bet and protect our hand. His hand's very much like ace-king. Turn, definitely a check as the ace improves his range, plus we don't want to get blown off our equity. Running ace, not good. I mean, he still has a ton of aces here. Versus a small sizing, yeah, it's probably still just fold. I mean, yeah, definitely just folding. The guy doesn't have enough check calls in his range. Like, he'd be, if he's bluffing here, he has to turn like 10s and 8s into a bluff. I block 8s. I don't think he's like, wow. I mean, that's fine. I don't hate my call. This is one of the better hands I can have, and running aces does block a lot. He would have c-bet ace x of spades, so we can remove the ace x of spades combo. If he were 3-betting like ace 5 suited, or, well, I guess not ace 5, ace 4, ace 3, ace 2, ace x suited. Definitely would be c-betting those types of hands. But like, I think it's close. I mean, I don't hate my call. I expect to be beat a decent amount. But like, if he's not betting his king 6 of hearts, or, I mean, I don't know this, right? This is just a weak player. But if he's not c-betting his king 6 of spades here, I think it's fair to argue he's not c-betting his ace x of spades here. Granted, king 6 suited shouldn't be in his 3-betting range to the cutoff anyway. Shouldn't be in the 3-betting range at all, but I think that's okay. As played, he should probably just, I don't know, jam the river if he's going to bet that big. Maybe that's why I called. Five, 6 suited would have been a fold. It's definitely a fold. If he would have called, he would have called. But folding, because this is either a 3-bet or fold to the cutoff, but he's too short. Ace 8 off, bottom right. Gets closer to an open now that I think about it, especially with 2 weak players. 10-9 suited. Easy flat in position with our suited connector versus a short stack. Table 4, ace queen of clubs, easy open. Top right with 10-9 suited, easy fold. He's just too short. If it were to check to us, I think we should still just check. The guy is way too short, and there's a lot of good turns for us that bring straights and flush draws. So let's try and realize our equity in position. That's the whole point behind calling with a suited connector on the button anyway. Bottom right, top effectively, huge whale. Don't know what I'm checking. Just bet 5, bet big. No, down betting is not a thing here. Versus the whale, we should just be betting big. I don't mind 250 though. I mean, it's fine. Turn, definitely go like 725. 8 seems good. Checking, it's fine. I mean, the reason why I'm hemming and hawing over here is because we're facing a guy who's got a really, really wide range. And so now I'm taking a look at his turn versus miss c-bet. And it's 1 out of 5, which means he's actually going to be relatively strong here. But I think that when we go into check call mode, we can't really value bet this hand for 3 streets, and I think ace queen and ace king are the types of hands we should be going for 3 streets of value here. As played, definitely a check call. This river just kills all the action. So depending on bet size, we might have to just fold. 1822 seems like a sizing we should just fold to. So yeah, I do just fold. I think I just played this hand really poorly. Definitely betting flop, but bigger. Definitely bet turn bigger. I mean, this guy's just so wide. 41% of hands. Come on. I can't just be playing that weakly with ace queen. It's not good. Should go bet, and then on the river we could Bet fold versus a guy that wide who might pay off light. But I don't mind check fold either. Ace jack bottom right, make it 6 to the limper. And this is probably the bottom. Not doing with ace 10. Did I make it 8? I did. 8's fine too. These guys are whales. They'll call anything. And I'm just pushing equity here. Definitely. I go larger on the flop now. I probably go around 14. 8's okay as well. I don't hate it. Turn just becomes a check. I mean, that card's super good for his range. His flatting range shouldn't contain too much suited connectors. So I don't mind double barreling here. I'd have to bet like 24. But I think I should just check and give up. But double barreling seems fine. I mean, his cold calling range shouldn't contain too many 7s, which is why it doesn't. I don't mind double barreling that turn. Plus another 7 reduces the combos of 7s he has, makes it more likely he has like a 6, maybe a straight draw. And that should all fold to a strong double barrel. Top right, ace 8 suited, easy open. Flop trips. This is a down bet for sure, especially versus a short stack. Checking is actually also an option because the SPR is 4. I could bet pot on the turn and then jam the river if I wanted to. Betting small seems fine as well. Turn, I think we should check. Betting is okay as well, but it has to be kind of, I was going to say kind of small, but I mean, now we're always stacking a king. This is just a setup. And yeah, just jam the river. Bet seems fine. I'm just thinking of other lines in my head. But yeah, versus a short stack, bet can't be bad. And jam it in. If I remember correctly, I think he had king queen. Ooh, girl. It's ugly. Bottom right, easy call. Versus under the gun. Jacks, queens is the closer one, but I think jacks and queens seem fine. King's mandatory if you bet ace king suited, mandatory. Ace king off is close. You can go back and forth with that specific hand. Jack's on this board. We're usually well ahead of his range. He's got a lot of high cards. To that sizing, though, easy call. Smaller, we would be raising. But when he makes it that large, he's setting himself a really, really high price to draw to his 6 outs if he is not paired up. Double barrel, Jack's still a call. Pretty frustrating. We'll take a look at his turn frequencies. Very, very low turn bet and high river aggression. So I expect to face a bet here on the river a lot. All spades miss. I don't have any spade blockers, so this would probably be a call. Once he checks, I think we should just check. I don't think there's much value. But I don't mind a small bet either, because his checking range on the river is going to consist of ace king, maybe pocket queens, and then 10s, 9s, and 8s. So I don't mind a small like blockerish bet. 7's easy open, king jack, top right, easy fold. Too early to play it. Ace queen, bottom right, will be played from any position versus the under the gun open will just be flatting. If you take a look, the dude is a fish playing way too many hands, but he's not raising a ton of hands, so definitely just going to flat as he seems to have a normal opening range or raise first in range. Pocket 2's top right is a fold, 2s through 4s is a fold. I'll probably open 5s plus. Check calling with ace queen off, and yeah, 2s is definitely just a fold. It's not going to play well enough. We don't flop enough sets, and flopping a weak set out of position is not going to be very profitable. Check call with ace queen. Check call on the turn. I mean, now it's profitable with pocket twos for sure. Taking a look at his turn double barrel, super aggressive on the turn and not really aggressive on the river, so definitely a call. And checking the river and winning it. Oh, not winning it showdown. It's unfortunate. But I think all very standard. Definitely making it. I would make a note on him now saying he's opening way too wide under the gun. King 10 off is not an open for sure. So we would have 3-bet him pre and made some money there. Twos checking through again, just way too weak. Shouldn't have opened it. Jack 9 suited, flat on the button. Plays much like a suited connector. Naturally, we get squeezed. Jack 9 suited, coming along for sure if that guy calls. And at this point, I don't mind calling. We take a look at our pot odds. We're getting laid a price of $9.50 to win 19. Again, a little better than 2-1, meaning we need about 30% equity or so here to make this a profitable call. And again, if he has ace king, we're about 38%, 35%. Aces, we got about 20-25% against. And yeah, this hand will just be pretty straightforward to play. On this flop, we should put in a raise. I don't like jamming. The reason why we raise here is because we have sets that we want to raise for value, and we can balance that with some flush draws, combo draws, etc. I don't mind calling either. Calling seems fine with our Jack 9 suited specifically because we still have 2 overs, and we can call in and then reevaluate some turn bet sizings if the turn comes like the Jack of diamonds. I prefer to raise with a hand like ace 5 of spades, 6 7 of spades, etc. And this guy just lost his freaking marbles. Okay. GG. Free money. Forgot about that hand. That's fun. Yeah, just pull that back up. Oh, I saw what was going on with this hand. Yeah, easy fold for sure. Oh, we turned the 2. It's annoying. But definitely just a check fold. And that wraps it up. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm sorry if it was a little spotty. My play's definitely improved since my recording of this. I'll have another one out for you next month. Other than that, hope you enjoyed it. Definitely leave some comments in the Discord if you have any questions on any hands specifically. If not, I'll just catch you guys next time. Thanks. This is Alex, signing off.